Well, this may be the last time you see the LUV in this current configuration, because I got something new. Let's go take a look. Alright guys, if you ever wonder why it is I never work in my garage, this is why. There's all kinds of stuff in my garage. Some of it's garage stuff, some of it's storage stuff, but it's all in here. Makes it very difficult for me to do a whole lot in here, but I'm working in the garage today. And here's what I'm working on, sort of. Check these out. Don't you just love it? Would you just look at it? So ever since I was a kid and I first was, you know, getting into cars and liking different, well, I can't think of a time when I wasn't into cars and cool stuff like that. But ever since I was little, I told you in a previous video, my brother had that Datsun 610 or 620, and that's why I got the black one. But I also like the Chevy LUV, as I've said, and that's why I ended up trading for the Chevy LUV. But one of the things that I always thought, the coolest wheels that I thought fit either one of them was these guys right here. Now hopefully by the time you're seeing this, I've already shown you the video where I got some similar wheels for Luna. They're 4-lug, and that's a whole other issue that I'll talk about in a little bit. But anyway, in the meantime, I am wanting to put these wheels, I've already got the tires on them, they're awesome. I'm a little concerned how low the LUV is, if I might have some clearance issues, but I'll deal with that once I get them on. But these are my favorite wheels for the little pickups like that. Now I always like the solid center lines for like old muscle cars. I guess they're actually a hated wheel by a lot of people out there. I don't know, I still like them and I have a set, but we'll get to that in another video or another time. In the meantime, I've had these wheels now for a couple of months and I've run into a significant problem. Let me show you. The lug holes on these are different than regular wheels. As you can hopefully see, it doesn't have the bevel for a kind of a cone-shaped nut, and it's pretty deep in there. That goes in there like just about a full inch. What you need to have is lug nuts like this right here. So instead of it just being a short nut that just kind of presses up against a cone shape there, this actually goes all the way inside of there and it grabs the lug nut. So the lug nut, when you put the thing on, will come up almost flush with this right here, and then this will get onto the lug nut and screw down and go in like that on all of them, obviously. Here's the problem. I am now on my third set of lug nuts for these wheels. Let me show you the other ones that I bought, because I haven't sent them back yet, but I've already sent one set back. These guys right here. Now see how it's got that part there? That would also, can you see that? That would also go into the wheel. It's not nearly as long though. We'll get to that in a moment. The big problem is the threading is right. The first ones I got, the threading was even wrong. And of course I Googled it, looked it up on the internet, and got the ones that it said was right for it, and of course it wasn't. But then I got the right ones for the threads. But take a look at what happens. It won't go in, because the diameter of the hole is not as big as the diameter of that shank right there. Okay. Shank you very much. Not really. So, these are wrong. So that's the second set I'm gonna have to send back. I still haven't even gotten the money back for the first set. At least I haven't seen the email saying I got it back. Now, on to the problem with these ones, okay? Let me just start off by saying these are the ones I'm going to be using. I am tired of messing around with it. So I've been waiting for a couple of months now to be able to get these things on, and when you know it, even these ones that fit in there right and they're the correct ones still have a problem. Can you tell what it is? Look at how long that is. Okay, that's like 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches on just that shank part, okay? Not shank you very much. It only needs to be about an inch to go through there, because if it goes too far, it's gonna stick out the back side and it would never tighten the wheel up. So unless I stack a bunch of washers up, it's not gonna work. So, and let's talk about the washers now. This is the washer. All right, that washer goes on there. See, it fits on there nicely. You can see it's kind of a thick washer. I would probably have to have about 3 of those in order to make these things fit right. But there's another problem. There's a problem with the washer too. That washer doesn't fit up in there. So that washer, if it was tight in there, the hole doesn't line up. See that? So many things. So let me show you what the solution is. Now, if you can tell what I've ended up doing, see how it's kind of odd shaped up there? So I literally took it to my bench grinder and ground that down. Now this one will fit up in there. Okay? Because that lip right there, it has to fit flat onto that surface, and if it was like that, it's hitting this ridge right here. If the whole thing were flat, it wouldn't be a problem. And yes, it does kind of bevel down in there a little bit. That's not really a concern. The big concern was that ridge right there. Even though it's got a little cutout, that has to fit up so that the hole of the washer lines up with the hole for the lug on the wheel. Are you with me so far? Let's go over to the bench grinder and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so this one here is my main one, and I've used this many times, but I'd like to say I used to have it mounted down to a different bench, but I didn't. This one here, it's a little different. This one, I turned it on and it's just wiggling all over the place. It might be partly because it's only got one grinding wheel on it and nothing on the other side to kind of balance it out. But so I've got this C-clamp kind of clamping it down in a real janky sort of way. It should be fine. All right, so let me show you what I'm doing. As I said, I gotta get my washer to have this ground down. And so what I have done is I've got my vice grips here that are, you know, Cobalt brand. And I put one of them that's ground down and I clamp it right to this other one. So basically it gives me a template and I can grind the lower one or the rear one down to the same as the front one there. Okay, so when I ground the few that I did, it seemed like putting it right on the corner of that did the best. Well, this has a much more sharp edge, so it kind of goes to reason that that would probably cut through it and do a better job. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if there's any way I can set this camera up at an angle so that you can see me do at least one. I'm not going to bore you with doing every single one of them, but let's see if we can get one done here and you can see how I'm doing it. Okay, I don't know how well you could even see that, if it was even worth trying to film, but as you can see, they both are at about the same angle. It's ugly, but it should work. All right, if you think that's a bad idea, go ahead and leave it in the comments and tell me I'm an idiot, or, well, you know, maybe be a little nicer than that, but let me know what you think I should have done instead of that. Look at that, I think I got some black on my face. That's good, it means I'm working, right? I've already done, that was number 4, 20 to go. So I'm doing it, I'm committed to it at this point because I can't return them and get any money back for them. And with that said, there's another issue. So the other issue that I have is how deep that shank is. Basically what I'm gonna do to resolve that, I'll put the lug through the wheel, take a little Sharpie and mark around how far ever it sticks out. I'll do it without the washer, and that way when I put the washer on, it'll kind of back it off a little bit, give me a little bit of space to tighten it in there. If I put the washer on it after I cut the end of this off, that gives me a little bit of flex to tighten it down. It'll still have plenty of bite on the threads on the lug, but it won't bottom this out on the wheel and actually hit the hub and keep it from tightening and holding the wheel tight to the hub. So that's the plan. It might be stupid, it might not work, but that's what I'm doing. So anyway, wish me luck at this point. We'll see if the end of the video actually is successful and I'm putting wheels on. So stay tuned, and we'll see if I get some cool wheels on my LUV. All right. See, that part that I ground off fits down right down into there. And then the lug nut will go in there. Just gotta make sure that's straight. And it fits flush down in there the way it needs to. So, and just like that, that's what they will all look like. So they are all done, but I still have that issue with the lug nuts sticking out too far. So here's what I'm gonna do about that. Okay, so you see how that's sticking out. Now that doesn't have a washer on the other side, so it's sticking out a little bit more. But what I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna move to this lower one. I'm gonna take a Sharpie, and I'm just gonna push that through, put the Sharpie there, and I'll spin this around. Boom. And now I have a nice little line. So I'll do that with all 24, and then I will cut them off at that line. All right, here we go. So I've got one. I'm gonna do one first just to make sure it works, and that way if I ruin it, it's only one. But I've got it in the vise. I put a little bit of electrical tape around it just so that when the vise jaws grip onto it, they don't booger it up. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this with my bandsaw and see how it turns out. Okay, well, there's one. Let's take a look at it. It's pretty straight. It's pretty even. It's a little bit off. So I do have a band sander or belt sander, so I might take this in and just belt sand that down to make that flush. All right, the belt sander made the surface there much better. Success. So now I just got to do that 23 more times, and hope I get them all just as good as this one, because this one is perfect. So all right, but I'm not going to film that just because it'd be like watching paint dry. All right, well, that was a significant pain in the you-know-what, but got them all cut down to size. So I still need to put them onto the belt sander, I should say, and kind of bevel that down a little bit and clean that up, and then I'll you know, clean out the end and the edges, and we should have a bunch of lug nuts that are ready to put wheels on. All right, that last one got hot. Okay, well, it looks like my battery's about to be done on this one, so got a few other things to do, but just so you know, I just wanted to kind of address something real quick. It does seem like I'm going through a lot to get these lug nuts to be the right size. I don't know, I would think that you could find the right lug nuts for these things. They made these kind of wheels for a long time, and granted, they're not really in popular use these days. They're still in use, and you would think that you could just find the right lug nuts and get them. So these lug nuts that I got were the only ones that fit the diameter of the hole on the lug, or in the wheel, and then fit the actual lug bolt and everything else. They were just too long. If they had had a shorter shank, it would have been fine, but instead I had to modify them. So, however, the threads go all the way up in there, and so the amount of threads that are on these lug nuts, even after I lopped off that bit, it's still well more, probably still twice as much as the factory lug nut. If any of you are concerned about safety, I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. I like living. I don't want to take my life into my own hands and do stupid things and be a daredevil or anything like that. So I don't think that there's any kind of a problem. If it had been like the threads only had a tiny bit left on them, I wouldn't have done it, you know, but the threads go all the way up in there. So there's still plenty of grip and thread and everything. So I'm still going to be safe, okay? So anyway, just thought I would address that. And so up next, I'm going to prepare these wheels because I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of painting on them on the inside, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Alright guys, well, I've probably already rambled on way too much, and the video is probably already getting way too long, but I do want to show you what I'm gonna be doing next. I'm just gonna just show just the littlest bit of this, and we'll get on to putting those wheels onto the truck and everything. But I don't know if I already had shown this, but I got this bumper. This bumper is rough, it's tweaked and bent, so, you know, perfect for my love since it's kind of crusty, rusty and everything. But what I want to do, this paint that's on here that's all faded and everything, I don't know what original color it was, probably just a flat gray. It's almost got a silvery look to it, but it's all oxidized. So what I'm gonna do, I was looking for a wire brush thing to go on the end of my drill here, and I couldn't find it, but I found this abrasive ball. So I'm just gonna kind of go over everything, clean the dirt off of it. And then I've got some acetone that I probably won't use, and I've got some mineral spirits that I probably will use and wipe it all down the best I can. And then I've got some different paints here. This one here I just bought, it just says Rusty Metal Primer. This is the paint that Ted gave me when I got the thing. Okay, so there's not a whole lot left in that, so I probably won't get much use out of that, but then just kind of I wanted flat, it's gloss black, but I'm gonna paint some of the underneath stuff and maybe the bars or the bracketry or whatever. But anyway, my intent or hope is to get it kind of similar color to those other wheels that are on the LUV right now. And if it works out and I like the look of it, I'm going to actually paint in between the fins of the little thing that makes it look like a little turbine on those wheels. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to start by roughing this all up and kind of cleaning it up a little bit. Yeah, just started pouring rain. Perfect.
The next day.
Here it is. My whole point, what I was trying to do with this, with the different mixing of the colors, was to get the color to kind of look about like this color on this rim. But it doesn't really matter because of those wheels that I'm going to be putting on. Those wheels there will be coming off. But I want to paint in between the fins of those turbine wheels something that somewhat matches that. Not just black, not just raw aluminum, but something in between to kind of give it an aged look. So anyway, I'm going to put this bumper on. I'm not going to film every little aspect of that because it's literally 6 bolts. And so I did get new hardware, and of course the head on it is 5/8 and the nut is a 17 millimeter. Isn't that cool? So, but there are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 per side. So it shouldn't take me too long to get that thing bolted up there, and then we'll take a look at how it looks. All right. What do you think? Do you think the color blends in good enough? I think it does. I still have a little bit of tightening to do and a little bit of adjustment to do, but I'm pretty well happy with the matching and the overall look of it. So I'm gonna wrap this up for the moment, and then next up I'm gonna be putting those tires and wheels on. So
The next day, again.
all right, we're almost at the finish line here. Now, as I'd said previously, with these wheels, I want to paint this area in here between these fins basically the same color as the bumper. However, I'm not sure if they're gonna fit since this thing's lowered. Let me show you how that looks. Those are lowering blocks. So those lowering blocks lower this thing down a full 3 inches. Yep, I measured it, and they are definitely 3-inch lowering blocks. Definitely 3 inches. And therefore, it might be too much to fit these tires on, because these tires are pretty noticeably taller than these tires, also wider. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and pop these hubcaps off and take these wheels off and just see if these ones will fit under there. But let me get this thing off, and then I got to show you one other thing real quick. Okay, and here's that part I was going to tell you about. This right here is a spacer, but unfortunately these lug bolts, they don't fit. They are the wrong size. Of course, all that lug problem that I've been having, these new lugs that I modified, they don't fit those. They should fit the ones that are in here though. So I'm gonna get these off of here and just take the spacer off for the time being, because maybe the spacer will make it not fit at all, but maybe it will fit without the spacer, and then I just don't have spacers, and there goes $100. Well, that was easy. All right, now for the first new wheel going on. One down, 3 to go. As you can see, this tire comes out completely flush, and this is the height that it will sit at. So without the spacer in there, it sits with about the same amount of gap and the same amount of being flush to the side as this one. So I think we're going to be okay without the spacer. Only problem is the front doesn't have a spacer, and it already sits out that wide, and these tires are the same size all the way around, so the fronts might stick out a little bit too much. I'm not sure what to do about that, but for right now I'll just get them on there and see if they fit. So ready? Ta-da! Well, there it is. What do you think? I love it. No pun intended, because it's a Chevy LUV and all. I love the way this thing looks. But unfortunately, as I feared, the fronts, they stick out too much, and there is almost no room there. I mean, it's basically touching. Unfortunately, it is not going to work like that. The backs actually are perfect without the spacers, but the fronts didn't have spacers, and I don't know that there's a way to narrow the front end, certainly not cheaply. I'm not sure what I would need to do. Now I can, as I said, I can raise it back up a little bit, and that would probably do the trick. I can get smaller, like narrower front tires, basically get the same size front tires that were on those other wheels, but I think that these wheels actually have more of an offset. So I don't think tires, they'd have to be really low profile to make the difference. All right, well, I went ahead and raised up the torsion bars on the front and gave myself a bit more gap here. I'd say I raised it up about an inch, maybe a little bit more, but if I do anything more than that, it's gonna make the front look higher than the rear. So this is about the maximum I wanna raise it up and still look lowered and look all right. I don't want to have the car like sitting hot front high. That just looks goofy. I mean, I could always change the rear lowering blocks to 2-inch blocks, but again, I like the way it looks right now. It's just that these wheels, they stick out too far, if there's no way to lower or to narrow the front, the only other thing I can do is I can get smaller tires, which I actually looked online and there was some online, but as soon as I responded to the ad, of course they were sold. So I'll probably keep on looking, but I went ahead and changed it out on both sides and took a little drive. It does rub, but I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up and just kind of drive it around in a circle in the cul-de-sac, so you'll probably be able to hear the tires rubbing when I turn it either direction. So let's do that, okay? Well, I think that will do it. All right, there we have it, the LUV with its new shoes. I don't regret anything. I love the way it looks. I think it looks great. I just got to figure out that front tire situation. So I don't know, in the future when I figure it out, I'll probably do maybe I'll do a short to update that. But in the meantime, I got to figure, I might have to torque those torsion bars up a little bit more, just so I can drive it around a little bit. But I really don't want to raise it up anymore, like I said. So what do you think? Leave me a comment. I've asked you for this before, but leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you've actually got a LUV and you know what the trick is to narrow that front end. If you do, let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you like this content, you know, subscribe to the channel and see this and more like it. I got a pretty big update on the Camaro coming up pretty soon and a bunch of other stuff I'm doing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned.